Naquita. End of a disappointment and frustrating week. Obviously, you went to Haiti with high hopes, ended up with a 1-0 victory going into the final match. Your thought process going into the match, knowing what we had to do. You and I spoke prior to that, but getting to the field, what was your last minute thoughts? And then the game itself, how do you think it transpired?
Well, going into the final match, we knew that we were ahead 4-0, and we tried as best we could to hope that the girls didn't figure that out so that they would go into the match complacent. So we went in with the same game plan. We knew that we would absorb pressure for the first few minutes, and it worked. What didn't work for us was the work rate that was needed by individuals in the center of the park. Zara Gibbons, the captain, she really ran her socks off in this match, and she had to, because she was covering for players that were not willing to work. Not that they couldn't, they were not willing to put the work in. And the unfortunate thing is that we trained and we worked on those players in the session before the match, and instilling them the things that they had to do, and they were doing it in the match, in the training session. And you know, it really was perplexing for us, because we couldn't figure out, now it's showtime, and you're choosing to jog next to a player. You're not choosing to put in a tackle. We lost Leah Smith early in the match, so that kind of changed a lot for us, because she was the most outstanding player in the first match, between herself and Ava for zoning. I went and watched Puerto Rico and Haiti, and in that match, the Puerto Ricans, what they did differently was that they controlled the center of the field. So number 10 for Haiti, which is the captain, she's an American-based young lady in college. She plays well. She has very good touch and technique when she has time on the ball. So what we did, we gave her that time. Initially, we had Zara marking her. When Zara was marking her, she had no place. She had no space. She couldn't turn. She couldn't do anything. The coach moved her, and then Zara had another player that she had to mark. So if Zara went with her, her player was free, and the other players that should have picked up did not pick up. So there was a huge difference. Haiti only made 3 changes. So you know, a lot of people want to know if they allowed Puerto Rico to beat them, so that I honestly don't think that they would have given themselves a 4-0 mountain to climb. They couldn't possibly have thought that Bermuda was that bad. Unfortunately, we showed them that maybe we are. But if we would have been at the game to see, if Bermuda could have been there to see the heart of Ava, of Leah Smith, Zara Gibbons, Micah Pawn, Marley Christian, Sarai Paul, Samira Lodaro, Aaliyah Nolan. If you could have been there to see the hard work that those girls put in, then you would have said, wow, if the whole team played like this, then the result would have been a lot different. Losing Leah at 2-0, she lasted to the half. We went into the half at 4-0, but if you ever saw the tapes, you'll see that the third and fourth goal, you know, Leah was kind of in la-la land, and she has been diagnosed with a 3.5 grade concussion, and the highest can be 5. She's now been taken out of school as well as off the football team until she recovers. So, you know, my prayers and love goes out to Leah, because she left everything on the field. She was severely concussed and still wanted to go out and play, and it was very heartbreaking for me as a coach to see a player laying on the bench. She couldn't even watch the second half. She had to stay in the changing room, and there were players on the field that were taking, oh yeah, I'm playing for granted, that I don't think we're committed and we're serious enough. So moving forward, you know, we have the U17s coming up. There are going to be some changes, and individuals are going to understand that if you're not willing to play with passion, commitment, and heart, you can't represent Bermuda. And, you know, we got parents now questioning, especially daughters that are in school, is it worth it? Is it worth my daughter's college? Is it worth my daughter getting injured? Is it worth my daughter going through this when there are players that aren't willing to step up and do the same thing? And like I said, if it was things that they couldn't do, fair enough. That's on me as a coach to get you to do it. An example of that is Samira Lodaro. The things Samira didn't do in the game is things Samira can't do yet. So we now have to work on that. But the things that were not done in the match, covering, jogging next to a player that's got the ball, not standing a player up and not standing in front of the player to block that pass from number 10. You know, if we're getting beat, the ball's getting pulled back, a girl's just jogging next to the player, because you know how we are in Bermuda. Oh, she pulled back the ball, I slipped that way. I remember in the game, a girl pulled the ball back and Eva Frazzoni fell down, but before she fell, she was right back up. Chased the girl down and won the ball. You know, we didn't have that over the entire field. If we did, the result would have been a lot different. So, you know, it was 8-0, and the Haiti coach came up and, you know, he's like, I'm happy with the things you're trying to do in Bermuda. Keep doing it. Don't be discouraged. The scoreline doesn't represent how your girls have been in this tournament. And just keep going. You know, the games played on the night, and this was just a bad day at the office. So, you know, that's encouraging. The Trinidadian people came up as well and said, you know, Bermuda, we're rooting for you. This is unfortunate. And it was a hard night. It was an emotional night. And again, you know, I'm pleading to the parents of these players. Tell them they have to be committed and they have to wear the game on their sleeve. We traveling back on the bus. You had girls. I had girls who cried for at least 4 hours. The girls wanted to talk. The ones that are into it and passionate about it, they were in our room talking for like 6 hours. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning, they were still talking. And the next morning, they were still talking. Then you had others who just wanted Wi-Fi. You know, I had one player make the statement, well, at least I could get some nice food now. At least I could sleep in a nice bed. So, and you're saying that to players that have just left everything on the field, who's heartbroken. And then I have to hear players saying stuff like, Coach, we were there. Like, we were there. We saw this, you know. And so it's things like that, you know, that can kill the team.
Could you put some of it down to a learning curve? Some of these girls, stage fright, because people react differently to different situations, and this is something new for some of them. As you said before you left, there was some youngsters in the squad, so a way to detract away from being nervous is to do totally opposite.
Stage fright would have made sense to me if it was a player like Danny Watson. Now, Danny Watson came on at 7-0. Danny Watson got a ball in position and would have scored, but for lack of experience, nothing to do with stage fright. What Danny Watson did in 15 minutes, those players that didn't play didn't do for 90. So I can't say it's stage fright, because the ones that didn't perform, they've been on, this was their third tour this summer. You know, so, you know, you had 2 in July and now 1 in October. So I can't put it up to stage fright. And I thought that the Haiti game would have had drums, would have had, the stadium would have been full, because that's how it was 2 years ago. But at this game, they could hear me shouting. I can send a message all the way across the field myself without having to send it by relay. So I can't put it up. I can't put it down to stage fright. I put it down to lack of respect for your teammates, just lack of commitment, and a lack of drive. We can't coach that. I can coach all the football I want, but if you don't have the heart and the passion for it, there's nothing more that we can do. Puerto Rico lost to Bermuda. They knew what they had to do. They showed up and they played to the end. Puerto Rico scored their last 2 goals in the last 13 minutes of the match, and 1 was scored in extra time, in overtime. So, you know, I can't stand there and accept that. I think we've accepted that kind of stuff for too long. We've enabled these players. We say, you know, no, now's the time to be serious. Now's the time to start calling people out. And that's basically what we're going to do from now on, you know. And we have the under-17s now. We have to right some of the wrongs. And those under-17s know. We have under-17 players that sent messages on that night to the rest of the players in the group and said, listen, we need to step up. We are going to have to step up if we want to go any further than this.